Welcome back. Joining us now is Yahoo News national reporter Marquise Francis. Marquise, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
A lot of your reporting in recent months has been around different ways that the black community has been engaged in this election and how the campaigns, especially the Democratic ones, are trying to engage back. What are you finding?
Yeah, well, one thing I'm seeing is the Joe Biden campaign. They're really trying to go where a lot of black voters and a lot of black people are. We know earlier this year, Joe Biden went on The Breakfast Club, which is a nationally syndicated radio morning show located in New York City. And he was interviewed by Charlamagne the God. Unfortunately, on that show, he kind of had the slip at the end where he said, "You're not black if you don't vote for me." He's also doing things like they have these panels they're calling Shop Talk, kind of modeled similarly after LeBron's HBO show, The Shop, where they have black voters, particularly prominent black men, sit around in a barbershop type atmosphere, obviously more virtual in these times. And they talk about unfiltered conversation about debates. And I spoke to one of those panelists, rapper Young Jeezy, a few weeks ago, and he talked about why he's engaged. He didn't go as far as saying he would endorse Joe Biden, but he's saying he enjoys that the campaign is actually engaging with him. And this is a lot of the sentiment I'm hearing across the board. Now, all of their tries are not actually going necessarily well with black voters. There was a video, I believe, that came out last week where they were simulating a rap battle of sorts, and they were throwing out campaign stats and different things like that. And that didn't really sit well with a lot of black voters, but I heard you all talking in the first block just about black voter participation, and they're really just trying to engage people. We know in 2016, I believe it was 98% of black women voted for Hillary Clinton. But when you look at black men, it was only 81%. So black men are the group in which Biden definitely wants to ensure he kind of has the black vote. And as Dan kind of mentioned, they are not a monolith. And we saw, even though the past few days, we saw rapper 50 Cent kind of come out and seemingly, not officially, but seemingly endorse Trump over, Biden's tax plans, which I think a lot of people are kind of misconstruing. But the black vote is important, and we're seeing it. And for a lot of black Americans, they just want to know that the things in which a presidential nominee says they will do, they will actually do.
Well, Marquise, let's dig into that a little bit, because you also had Ice Cube, the former rapper and movie star, flirt with Donald Trump, and the numbers are interesting. I mean, as we talked about before, they're still below double digits, but they're creeping up a bit. And Trump, who I think it's fair to say is the most racially divisive president we've had since Richard Nixon, or maybe even before, why is he able to attract more black voters? And I'm particularly struck by, as you point out, male black voters. I think I saw a number that he's close to around a 17% approval rate with male black voters. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet, I believe this week, where it said black men are actually more interested in fitting themselves where they fit into the patriarchy instead of actually dismantling it. And I think it just goes to the psyche of black men. We all know as men, we have our own, just our own ways in which we do things and our own biases and even our own liberties at which we can live this world. And for black men, oftentimes they may see themselves in a likeness of a Donald Trump, where he shows his strength and authority. I went to 5 Trump rallies actually over the past year and a half. And obviously the overwhelming majority of people attending these rallies were white men and women, but you definitely saw a handful of black men. And a lot of them had the same sentiments of whether they were super conservative when it came to religion. Donald Trump is a Christian. He doesn't believe in gay rights. And we know the black community, and specifically black men, tend to be homophobic. But a lot of people tend to latch onto one thing, and they make that the only thing. We talked about 50 Cent just a minute ago. And one of the things that he kind of called out that he exclaimed was the tax bracket, which I believe once you make over $400,000, the money after that is taxed at about 65%. So it seems as though a lot of times black men they serve their own interests when they're looking at the grand scheme of things. And Black women oftentimes are doing and choosing for the collective majority.
Marquise, so we talked a little bit right now about the gender gap in the Black community, but what about the age gap? Obviously, during the primary, Joe Biden got a lot more support from older Black voters than younger Black voters. Are those voters now coming behind Biden, or are they still not really quite as excited about him and maybe sitting it out a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but from what I understand, I think people are starting to more and more realize the importance of this election. In 2016, I was looking up a stat. For the first time in 20 years, Black voter turnout declined. It was at 59.6%. compared to a record high in 2012, which was at 66.6, according to a Pew Research poll. And I've heard from so many people at one point, we don't like Biden, but we definitely don't like Trump. But I think it's becoming more reality. They're having to pick between the lesser of two evils for a lot of people. There are definitely going to be the faction of people who decide not to vote at all. They believe no one's good. It doesn't trickle down to them. But I think with the emergence of so many visuals, whether that mean commercials, we're seeing ads on Facebook, Twitter, people are really starting to realize how important their vote is. And we're seeing, even once again, going back to celebrities, I saw a video of Shaquille O'Neal voting for the first time and Snoop Dogg. Personally, I have my own issues as a grown man over the 40 years old, you voting for the first time, but they're once again pushing out the need and the importance of voting. We even saw P. Diddy talk about wanting to start a new Black party. So there is just this increased fervor, this increased energy around this vote. Everyone's staying to vote. It's almost getting to the point where you're getting shamed if you don't vote. So I definitely believe young people understand the importance. From what I understand, most people are just going to say, you know what, we're going to go for Biden. We're going to go for Kamala. Kamala also being an HBCU grad from Howard University in D.C. So there's things that even Kamala adding to the ticket kind of increase some enthusiasm within young Black voters for sure.
Well, Marquise, Joe Biden has talked about Black Lives Matter and those issues. And here's a clip of him talking about that recently. Let's take a listen.
If you say we have no need to face racial injustice in this country, you haven't opened your eyes to the truth of America today. There have been powerful voices for justice in recent weeks and months. George Floyd's 6-year-old daughter, who I met with, and when I met the family, Gina, I knelt down to say hi to her, and she looked at me and said, "Daddy changed the world." Jacob Blake's mother, another one, when I met with her, said, "Violence doesn't reflect who her son is, and the nation needs healing," and said she's praying for the police officers. Or Doc Rivers, the basketball coach, choking back tears when he said, quote, "We're the ones getting killed. We're the ones getting shot. We've been hung. It's amazing why we keep loving this country and this country doesn't love us back." Think about that. Think about what it takes to be a Black person to love America today. That is a deep love of this country that is far too long has not been fully recognized.
And I guess we could, kind of analyze how authentic that is or not. I mean, all politicians try to get their message across. But Marquise, you brought up Kamala Harris, and I wanted to sort of ask about that. You saw that big Kamala sign with Joe and Kamala, sort of equal billing, actually interesting. And how much is she going to really resonate with the Black community? You touched on that. Maybe you can drill down a little bit more.
Yeah, I think Kamala is honestly what Joe Biden needed. A lot of people have had conversations, about Joe's age. And, we also know he has, I believe, a speaking impediment. But when you look at Kamala and her debate style, I mean, she gets right through the teeth of things. I think she held her own when it came to VP Pence. And we cannot discount what it means, the fact that we have an HBCU alum on this national ticket. HBCUs have been the pride and joy for a lot of Black America for so long. Before Black people could go to any school in the country, they had to go to our own schools. And they continue to be a part of just the Black community and the Black experience, whether that be fraternities and sororities. And once again, Kamala Harris being a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And they are a huge international organization full of hundreds of thousands of women. So they're able to mobilize. And honestly, once again, with the snafus that Joe Biden seems to have almost seemingly every few weeks, Kamala seems to be the person there to kind of pick up the pieces in many ways. And I have to also point at that video you showed. When we think about even COVID-19, obviously, we're in this international, this worldwide pandemic, and we see the crowds that the President Trump has versus Biden having this campaign rally where there's cars, socially distanced, and you hear cars honking in the background. And we know that COVID-19 disproportionately affects the Black community. I think it goes a long way in showing where our potential president for 2020, where their head is about how they care about the Black community.
All right, really interesting stuff. Thanks, Marquise.